Hi everyone, welcome to Scene Stealers with EW. Excuse me, I'm Marcus Jones. It's an early start for me in LA, but we are so excited to have Nikesh Patel.
Oi,
Yeah?
what's your name?
You don't know my name?
I know who you are.
Yeah, I should hope so.
You're the guy from the thing.
What?
Oh my God. What the hell? How could you not tell me this?
What do you mean?
Who you are, what you do.
I did, actually.
What do you do?
I'm an actor.
I want to start with, how has the reaction been to Starstruck? Because like I said, it's an international show. It's had sort of a long-ish rollout. And I feel like each weekend I see a new person saying like, oh my God, I just fell in love with this.
It's been, you know, honestly, it's been really lovely. We filmed it, you know, winter of last year in London, at a time where I think all of us were just really grateful to have work, and now for it to come out at a time where people seem to be, like you said, responding to it really positively. It came out here and it did well, and then had some nice responses in the States. I think Australia quite recently, which is obviously a big deal for Rose being a New Zealander to kind of that it was going out to that side of the world. But yeah, it's been really lovely, really positive responses, and it's just nice to be part of something that people seem to be really enjoying.
Yeah, you mentioned your co-star and the creator of the show, Rose Matafeo. How'd you get involved with the show, and were you a fan of Rose coming in?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a reversal of the premise of the show, to be honest, because I was a Rose Matafeo fan.
Nice.
That ended up finding out that she was creating a TV show. And we'd had a couple of exchanges, you know, on social media, and, you know, as a fan of her work, and we sort of reached out to each other, but I didn't really know her. And then the audition for this came through sort of September of last year. And the scripts were hilarious, and you know, the relationship between those two characters, which is kind of, you know, what makes or breaks a show like this, felt really real and really fresh. So yeah, I auditioned for it, and I remember, because of when we were doing this, you know, there was no in-person audition the first time we met, so I was on Zoom. We had our kind of chemistry read. I was stood on my laptop, and yeah, and the kind of process just kicked on from there.
Nice. And are you a big RomCom fan?
I've seen my fair share of them, I'd say. That, you know, and what, like, I think like anyone with, you know, with any genre, when it's done well, it's I think it hits a spot that other films kind of struggle to, because there's something really infectious, and you really invest in watching two people try and, you know, connect or be together, or in a way that, you know, I don't think it's by accident that a lot of other genres, if your lead will still have a love interest, right? That element of a story is still really important to an audience. So I think, yeah, when they're done well, they're really fun.
Oh, for the record, I wasn't really trying either.
Not true, actually. I specifically remember you saying, this is some of my best stuff.
Yeah, I would never have said that.
Yeah, that was the subtext of what you were saying. I was reading between the lines.
Another question I have for you, of course, is what drew you to Tom Kapoor? And is it easier or harder to play an actor? Because this isn't the first actor that you've played.
No, it's not. Someone did comment, hang on, is Nikesh just playing actors in rom-coms now? It's like, guys, I've been found out. No, I think there was something very, I think there's a version of this show which makes Tom's life really kind of like awesome and awe-inspiring and intimidating. And actually what I thought was really, again, what felt fresh, was a lot of the time, Rose and Alice Snedden, who co-wrote the show, what they're saying is, it's kind of a pain, this lifestyle, you know. And it's so often it's an obstacle to these two getting to spend time with each other.
This is mad. How do you two know each other then?
Okay, great. Well, there we go, because my car's here actually. So good to see you, Tom. Good to see you, Dan. It's me. So, oh my God, literally insane.
Sorry, can I get a photo?
What?
Yeah, of course. Loved you in the Avengers.
I wasn't in there.
Yes, you were.
Now, I don't relate to that 100%, but at the same time, I think being able to delve under, you know, go a bit deeper with what it's like to be in this business. And either draw on my own experiences or draw on the experiences of friends that have gone through, you know, these kind of weird showbiz situations that you can find yourselves in when, you know, after months and months waiting for work, and then suddenly like you're the lead of a film, and you got this junket and this, you know, so yeah, it's really fun to play with that, and also find the humor in it, right? Because it is, I think, being able to acknowledge the ridiculousness of showbiz is really fun.
Nice. And of course, I mentioned that you played an actor before. You were on Hulu's 4 Weddings and a Funeral. And so this show, Starstruck, of course, is kind of America's introduction to Rose. This is kind of your reintroduction. I want to know, like, does it feel like the beard made the difference with this show?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe the viewers can tell me the difference. Yeah, I didn't really think about it, to be honest. It's funny. I think each time you embark on a project, you just kind of invest in that, and the rest of it is out of your hands. But you've now made me pause and think, like, God damn, maybe it's the beard. I don't know. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. The other thing too is, like, has anyone pointed out how Starstruck could possibly function as a progression of your 4 Weddings character?
Well, I mean, I definitely thought about it, because, you know, Cash in 4 Weddings is someone who is tiptoeing around at the start of the journey of becoming an actor, and then hilariously, you know, a little while down the line, I'm playing someone who is like a fully fledged movie star.
Yes.
So I think there are definitely echoes, but again, I think what's great about both of those projects is the voice of you know, the writers and the creators, you know, Mindy in the case of 4 Weddings, and Rose in this, and I think always it comes down to, like, what, you know, who are you playing opposite, and can I find something fresh? And yeah, hopefully in both cases the answer was yes.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was onto something, because in the comments people are saying the beard is good. They're
Oh
fans
wow,
of the
okay, yeah.
beard.
Big fans of the beard. Noted, guys.
Exactly. Do you feel like you relate to Tom more and more as the show becomes more popular?
In what way?
Well, like, Tom is this superstar on the show, and through the show, more and more people are watching it. It's on a big platform, HBO Max. So I feel like getting possibly recognized for this show might feel a little in line of like a Tom experience.
It's been much more, I think, pleasantly low key than, you know, Tom getting mobbed out in the street. You know, I think it's you know, someone, I had it yesterday in the pub, and someone kind of just looked at me for a second. I was like, oh no, has my card not been accepted? Has my card been declined or something? It's like, you're on that BBC iPlayer show. So stuff like that is very manageable, and it's lovely, you know, that people are responding well to the show. But yeah, so far I don't have to worry, and nor would I want to have to worry about, you know, crowds of people or something. I think that would be quite stressful, and possibly I think that's one thing about the show being set in London. It's easier to navigate, whereas my experience of certainly being out in LA is that, you know, that kind of like fever pitch of someone being discovered and then everyone gathering is it's a lot harder to avoid.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if like the premise of the show is more fitting to London, where like Tom could be like realistically at a party like that, versus I feel like LA everything's roped off and you see people come in and out of cars and that's about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a big part of why the setup works for the show to be set in London, because you know that's my experience of being with, you know, you can suddenly just clock someone incredibly famous but who's keeping a low profile, and apart from a little bit of, you know, heads turning, and it's not that same, the setup feels slightly different, and you know, even little things like it's possible to kind of walk around and like use public transport or whatever and keep relatively incognito. Whereas I think again in LA, my experience is like if you're super famous, people are going to notice.
Nice. Yeah. What are the differences between you and Tom, and are there any that sort of again attracted you to the role?
Yeah, I would say I'm in a possibly happier place with my career than Tom is, in terms of like that intrusion into my life. I've not had to worry about that. Any kind of interactions with people have always been really positive. Yeah, and then probably, you know, I don't know what it's like to be in a version of Full Tank of Money or Siege on Olympus in the that's not my bread and butter, but yeah, I think it was fun kind of going, okay, you end up doing this with any character. Okay, some of this feels similar and very relatable, and then if it does feel different, you know, little things like acting up at a press junket, that was really fun because normally I'm really well behaved, and so when you've got a scripted opportunity to act up, I kind of just jumped
just
at the
let
chance.
loose.
Yeah, exactly. And there was, you know, Karen Main, our wonderful director, was shared around a few clips of, here are some famous people misbehaving if you want some inspo before we film this week. So I got to go away and just kind of YouTube and go, yeah, that's inherently, my reaction was like, God, that's so cringe. And then my kind of like little devil was going, yeah, but now you get to do that. So that was fun.
I know. So you haven't had like that experience at press junkets, but I was wondering, have you had an experience like Tom has sitting through Siege of Olympus, where it's something that you're in, but you're like, oh, maybe I don't like this?
I've been really lucky. I mean, look, there's, I think all actors have to go through something when they watch their own stuff back, which is your kind of neurotic actor brain obsessing over every choice you made and watching it blown up on a big screen. And like, so there's inevitably you're going to go, oh God, I hate it. Or, oh God, you know, just, but like personally from the point of view of your own performance. And I go through a process of that, and I find that, you know, it takes more than one watch to really kind of have an objective take on what it is you're doing. But yeah, no, touch wood, I haven't had to sit through something where I'm like, God, this is terrible.
You had no problem sitting through Starstruck, definitely.
No, Starstruck was just you know, and you know that, but that's fortunate as well, where something is so good that I get over my own kind of like needy self, in need of self-validation actorness, and go, well, this thing's really good, so I need to stop being hung up on myself and just enjoy it.
This film sucks. None of it makes sense. Why would you need a key to get into Olympus? It's a mountain.
Creative license.
What's like your favorite scene from Starstruck? And it could be like one that was fun shooting, or even like you said, watching the show and seeing that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, a couple stand out. Getting to work with Minnie Driver.
Yes.
You know, first of all, finding out that she said yes, and that Kath the agent was going to be played by Minnie frickin' Driver was pretty amazing. and she was, you know, she was really fun and professional, and like really, she was, you know, really great at improvising, and so I was just sat there and I kind of had an out of body experience, going like, you're improvising with Minnie Driver, just don't drop the ball. And yeah, that was really fun.
If you think about eating bread, call me, I'll talk you down.
And then I'd say, I mean, that Rose is so much fun to work with and bounce off, and but I think, yeah, possibly the weed brownie stuff. Just because, again, it was just the chance to really act up and inhabit something, and find the comedy, but then also find the truth in it. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And what do you think makes Tom and Jessie work?
Humor, I think, is a huge part of it. I think finding each other funny. And kind of, yeah, they have a sort of shared frequency when it comes to humor, because they're not the same in a lot of ways. They're not the same people, but there's something about that back and forth and that sparring that I think is really that attracts them to each other. And I think for Tom, certainly there's something really attractive about someone who, like, doesn't care what he does for a living at all, and if anything is aggressively unimpressed with the fact that he's you know, a famous movie actor. And I imagine that that's quite, again, we were talking about showbiz, right? Like, part of that business means that very quickly, when you reach a level of success, you get surrounded by yes people. Or if not yes people, that people that are you're not really going to, you know, have a lot of chance to connect with, because, you know, of all the apparatus of the business. So yeah, I think it's that. I think it's humor and someone who it kind of like cuts through all the rubbish and is really real.
Yeah. I of course want to congratulate you on the show getting season 2. What do you like? How far along is it? Do you know when it's going to be shot at all, or is it super early?
We finished shooting 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, we wrapped.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's done. It's in the can. So yeah, I don't know when it will come out, but I know that Rose and the creative team are in the edit now, watching take after take back. So yeah, it's happening.
Nice. Oh my god, I'm so excited to hear that. That's so much shorter a wait.
So my brain is, I know everything that happens, and I'm sorry I can't tell you anything.
Oh, well, okay. Can you at least tell me if we can expect more Minnie Driver? Is there anything thematically you're excited to get explored in season 2?
Okay, you've got to be very careful here. Minnie may or may not be back.
But Tom still has an agent.
Tom still has an agent. And I would say, I think what's safe to say is that if the first series was kind of will they, won't they, the second series deals pretty directly with the aftermath of, like, the end of the show. So yeah, I think I'm allowed to say that. Well, I've said it now. So, you know, it's about, like, where do we go from here?
Yeah. One thing, of course, I noticed, like, it's notable to have 2 people of color as the leads, but do you think the show itself will address the kind of rarity of Tom being this superstar South Asian leading man?
It's a good question. I don't think we had conversations really about directly addressing it, but I think, and you know, one thing that's, because you're right, it is rare, but also it's exciting to be that this show is coming out at a time when, you know, Riz Ahmed was nominated for an Oscar. So, like, it's like change is happening, you know, people are breaking through, and so for that, for that reason alone, it feels timely, and it feels, you know, I think part of what is exciting about being part of the show and also seeing how it's been received is that it's not really about drawing attention to Tom's ethnicity being super unusual or some kind of anomaly.
Yeah.
Because I think that's part of the, you know, I mean, it's a fine balance, right? Because I think it's really great to have stuff that does engage with how unusual that is. But then I think part of like full representation is just having shows that go, okay, well, people that you might not have seen in these genres or playing these roles before are in them now, and we want you to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Guys, I want to remind you, you feel free to ask questions. We're going to get to that now. So let's see. I saw one in the comments that I like. So this is Jana K. Mistry 16. Any chance of seeing Jessie and Tom's families?
One word answer, yes. Yes.
Nice. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, geez. Okay. Oh, I love this. Okay, this is from Beautiful Flower Rihanna. One, have you had a brownie experience like Tom?
No, not brownies. No, I remember the first time I had weed in the States. I was not prepared for how good that stuff is. So it didn't turn me inside out like it did Tom. But yeah, I needed looking after.
Nice. Peach Bleach asks, which accent do you find more difficult, Australian or New Zealand?
Possibly, well, because I had two New Zealanders on the show.
Yeah.
So you know, I if I wanted to, and I tried not to, I could kind of like magpie their accent. But yeah, with so if anything, then doing an Australian accent when you've got that sound in your ears and you need to make sure it's clear. Yeah, I ended up just kind of WhatsApp friend of mine's Australian, and I just said, listen, man, I've got to say these lines and I need you to record them for me, and then just listen to them over and over again. I think I've got away with it.
Yeah. I feel like on the show too, Jessie says something to Tom about like, don't even try a Kiwi accent.
Yeah. And then I sort of parrot her back, and she's like, "That's not bad." So maybe I got away with it.
Nice. Okay, this is fun. Jason Ball 34 says, "Any good Artemis Fowl stories?"
Yeah, meeting and working with Judi Dench. You know,
big one.
That was one of the most exciting things about that job. But no, actually, my screen test for that, I remember going over to Long Cross Studios where they were filming, and my character Foley is a centaur, half man, half horse.
Yes,
sure. So my first audition was on tape. My second audition, they were like, right, before you go and screen test, you're going to have a stilts session. I was like, what? Like circus still. So Ken Branagh wanted to shoot the centaur practically, which means he wanted me to have the height, and he wanted me, right, okay, my reaction is pretty similar to yours, except, oh crap, I've got to do this. So I had an hour kind of like with the movement guys, like walking around on stilts, trying to learn how to gallop and you know, get the movement. There's something very specific about turning like a horse. You've got to do it in stages. Yeah. Because you've got this, you know, you've got this big, you got this big junk, and if you turn too quickly, then it's like your backside is just going. But yeah, for the audition, I had to audition in a version of the full Foley makeup on my stilts. And I tell you what, there's nothing. I've had a few nerve-wracking auditions before, but there's nothing quite like. Rather than thinking, oh my God, how am I going to play this line? Am I going to, you know, is my acting good enough? The only thought I had in my head that day was, don't fall over. there's thousands of pounds of camera equipment everywhere. And if you walk out in front of Ken Branagh and his director of photography and all these Disney producers and just stack it, you'll never live it down. So yeah, thankfully that paid off.
You nailed it. Yeah. Let me see. I liked one in the comments. Okay, this is STL Kel 27. Any chance of seeing a blooper reel, I assume, for Starstruck?
I'd love to see a blooper reel. I don't know. I think that's a question for Rose, to be honest. It might be something. I don't know if blooper reels is her vibe. Maybe it is. Yeah, I think DM. She's not going to thank me for this. DM Rose and ask her.
Also, DM HBO Max and the producer.
Right? Yeah.
They'll drop something. Let's see. I'm looking through the Q&A part right now. Okay, this is cute. Z Patel 306, does Jessie's character have qualities of what you're looking for in your real life love interest?
Good question. I mean, yes, for sure. You know, I think again, like what we're talking about with humor, I think humor's a real turn on, and also, but more than that, like compatibility. Like, I think it's a real sign if you laugh with someone, and I think that is one of the kind of biggest draws for both of these people. You know, there's a I think for me that you know, when people talk about chemistry, the ability to like really laugh with someone is a huge part of that. So yeah, for sure.
Nice. Yeah. We're getting some what's next for you. I also like that Susie Youssef asked, will you write your own series? So yeah, what is some in the future besides, of course, like we mentioned, Starstruck season 2 already in the can?
Yeah, Starstruck 2 is coming up. I don't know when yet, but imminently.
Hopefully, yeah.
I'm currently filming a series called The Devil's Hour for Amazon Prime and Hartswood Productions, which is really exciting change of pace. It's like a mystery thriller. So working with some great people on that. And yeah, in terms of writing, for sure, you know, I've now been fortunate to work with so many talented writer performers, and it kind of makes me realize that, you know, Rose has done it with creating and playing Jessie, and I think it's about finding the right story. It's one of the things that was, you know, lockdown was really hard in a lot of ways, but one of the great things about lockdown was everything stopping, where you didn't have to kind of, where you got some time to kind of take a step back and go, what do I want to do? What do I want for myself? So yeah, I reached out to a couple of friends about possibly collaborating on a show idea together, and we're kind of working that up at the moment.
Nice. I definitely had one more question. Of course, one thing that gets mentioned a lot about Starstruck is that it's kind of a pays homage to Notting Hill, and then of course you were in For Weddings, the TV show version as well. Is there any other Hugh Grant movies that you want to pay homage to, or a Hugh Grant role that you really liked and would want to do yourself?
See, I would argue that in For Weddings, I am Andy McDowell, and in Notting Hill, I'm Julia Roberts. But if I was, which Hugh Grant role? I mean, he's so good. But I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go Mickey Blue Eyes. I'd quite like to play Hugh Grant in Mickey Blue Eyes. You know, going out with someone and finding out that they're in the mob. I think that would be a fun premise to play with.
Nice. Thankfully, you didn't say The Undoing. That would be brutal.
No, I'll give that. Yeah.
Oh, this is nice. Advice for someone training at drama school.
Yeah, I think remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think drama school as an environment is can be really fulfilling, but can also be really intense. So just like take time outs to look after yourself. And finally, don't compare. You're not up against anyone else, even if people might make you feel like you are, whether it's your class, teachers, or the industry. Like, run your own race and enjoy working with, being surrounded by brilliant people. You'll have a great time.
Yeah. Love to end with some really great advice. But thank you so much for talking to us, Nikesh.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Glad you enjoyed the show.
And I want to remind everyone, if you have not watched Nikesh in Starstruck yet, please go to HBO if you're in the US. I believe, did you say BBC iPlayer in the UK?
That's right, yeah.
But you guys got to hop on that. Once again, thanks so much for being here on EW Scene Stealers. And have a great rest of the day. I know it's a little bit later in the UK.
Thank you, and you too.
All right. Thanks so much. See ya.
Bye-bye.